the blink it's a nice little trick, but it's not going to win you the game when it's that late in the game. So Lost Temple. This is our third map between these two guys. We've said it 1,000 times, but Shase actually 2-0 up right now, and our spawns are cross map. Very interesting.
Very nice. Pandatank, green Protoss spawning at the bottom of the map, with Shase as the ugly blue Protoss spawning at the top. He seems to be a fan of this color. I'm actually very much not a fan of the color, but we'll see what happens.
Funny, I actually think that Shase normally picks that green that Pandatank has, but because Pandatank's the host, he keeps getting the colors, so Shase being denied here.
We see a nice little line pylon for both players. Ooh, I'm lagging. Ooh, was that
not
me?
optimal. I didn't see. I'm not that quick, but I think they'll be okay. So both players, yeah. Shase actually choosing a slightly different pylon position in there. Looks like he might want to block his ramp. I think Shase might well be expecting something a little bit more crazy, all-in-ish from Pandatank, because he is 2-0 down, and this is the end. This is the end of the line for Pandatank.
I'm gonna say that you're wrong.
Okay.
The reason being, he put down at this front, which means they can see things coming up his ramp, and he can block it off as well, but I don't think he's going to.
Right,
okay. He did it. Okay, so he's just seeing what's happening.
Great.
He's chrono boosting his work. He's not saving chrono boosters also. This is not going to be a 4-gate or even a 3-gate robo. I think we might see a completely different strat by Shase now. Possibly he's just trying to give us a taste of what he can do. I'm not sure. Pandatank, seeing the opposing scout and completely reading wrong what's going on, is now going to the wrong position.
I see. Yeah, he's actually going to the 9 o'clock position now. But as you were saying, I mean, reading your opponent is not an easy thing. I mean, Shase now, maybe, as you were saying, trying something slightly more exotic, something a little bit more different, because he has that quite comfortable 2-0 lead. So it'll be great to see if he can show us something that's not a 4-gate or 3-gate robo.
Definitely. Well, he's put down at second gateway, so he's opening the same as the last game. I think this is definitely just Shase's anti-4-gate opening. He's just trying to push this into a slightly slower game. He's found his opponent's base the same time that his opponent's found his. Both of them just kind of checking out what's happening there. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Unit count right now is looking pretty much the same as well, so no one really slacking too much on their workers, although Shase has, I think, about 1 up for just chrono boosting a bit.
Yeah, I'm just watching both these guys throwing down their own second gases just to prevent that gas steal. On a big map like this, I think it's probably the wise choice.
Indeed. I think actually that Shase had the opportunity to steal the gas there if he was just going for it straight away. I think it's a bit of an afterthought.
Yeah,
maybe now if he had a chance he would have, but definitely both players just putting down the gas but not using it at all. Chrono boost going down for Shase on his Stalker, and on the other side going down on the Warp Tech. So Pandatank opening fairly standard. Shase also chrono
pretty much the same. I think the only reason he wants to get that Stalker out quickly is to stop the scouting so he can do whatever he wanted to do. If it is in fact something special, he's going to want to do it when the scout is out of the base.
Definitely. Okay, so there goes the scout. It is dead. He's taken it down. I'm looking. Here comes a 3rd gate. I'm so not in the right now. It seems that I've actually spoken a bit too soon.
We'll see. There's another probe out and about.
Oh, no, okay, that's just
no, not yet.
Okay, so Stalker just checking out here. Nice to just make sure there aren't any probes hanging around the towers. I always feel that people don't put a lot of emphasis on the scouting on the towers. You know, sometimes you see both players not taking Zalnarka towers, and vision is so important in a game like this.
And what
every time I commentate, I say this.
You can't say it. You can't say it enough. It's impossible to say it too much as well. Because Shase is just controlling this little Zalnarka tower right outside Pandatank space. He can see whenever anything enters or leaves the base by ground. Obviously, he'll have a good idea of when his opponent attacks. He won't lose anything by doing that. It's just a better idea. I mean, and scouting is such an important resource.
All right, so the build right now is actually pretty much the same. 3-gate robo on both sides. Shase actually not putting down a lot of units. He's just started warping. He's got 2 sentries, that 1 stalker out front to spot. I think that's a very nice thing. If you've got warp tech and a ramp to defend with, putting down a position like this where you can just alert yourself early on and then produce is quite nice. You can see Travis putting down some zealots at his base just to be sure. And here comes the probe putting down a robotics base. So this is going to be a straight out 3-gate robo into Colossi.
Wow, yeah, and this is actually a build I've seen Shase doing a lot in Protoss vs Protoss, because we've seen him play in Protoss vs Protoss a lot. We see this quite often. One base Colossus, people frown at that, people sigh at that, but I mean, the fact remains, it does work. If you can get those Colossus out before your opponent, it works incredibly well.
Most definitely.
Doing the same.
Actually, we're seeing exactly the same strat going down by Pandatank as well. You can see Shase putting down his pylons at the edge of his cliff like this, gives him nice vision, opens them up a little bit in case the opponent tries to shoot them up the cliff, but pylons don't go down that fast, and it's not the worst to lose one. So this is pretty good. He had a nice little poke there at the front with his stalker, just making sure, but it got shot, so he knew to back off.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously important to know that your opponent doesn't have an expansion up. Shase actually sitting in his base at the moment with his own observer. I think he's just going to go ahead and assume that, I mean, we can't see, Shase hasn't seen in his opponent's base yet, but he's going to assume that Pandatank's doing the same, and he obviously just wants to pick off either Pandatank's observer, or he's afraid of his getting taken down.
Indeed, and he takes down that scout as well, so Pandatank actually not aware if Shase is putting up an expansion or not, which could help him quite a lot, although I think by this time both players have committed to this strategy quite a bit. I was actually thinking now, if your opponent goes one base Colossi and you try to rush carriers, do you think that he'll take him down or not? Because carriers are quite strong.
Carriers, you know, you could probably, I mean, I'm going to say that if you rush something like Phoenix with your mixed in with your 4-gate army, you might do a little bit better. Phoenixes are actually quite crazy against Colossus, but I don't know, I think carriers is a little bit risky, and I think if your opponent just scouts once and spots that fleet big and it's over, you're going to have to hide that really well.
Okay guys, so this is not the kind of thing that I wanted to point it out at the finals of this championship, but we actually see one player being a little bit blocked here on the supply. He's got some others going out. This is not the best position because you need to be clean and surgical about what you do. Expansion going up for Shase after his first Colossi is up and the second one is coming as well. Yeah. He's saving some money, he's going to make a third. There comes the third as well. So he's producing some unit, he's got his observer, he's got some sentries, 2 Colossi, the third coming out. It's quite a nice situation for him.
Yeah, no, it's a very good situation. And Shase is probably quite happy with the fact that his opponent doesn't have an expansion up yet. He just had a little peek with his stalker there. And this is once again the same kind of thing. If Shase can get this expansion up and saturated before Pandatank even decides to push out, then he's going to be in a very good position. But
very interesting.
Yeah.
We might see a bit of a different thing here. We can see Shase actually researching Hallucinate. Either for a scout, maybe just to get a fake Phoenix out, or to put up some more Colossi in case he maybe guessed his opponent is going the same strat, and because he doesn't have as many because he put down an expansion, he tries to fake a few Colossi and just draw the attack out with them, which could work very well.
It's a very clever trick, but he's going to have to hope that his opponent doesn't have an observer out, and at the same time, I mean, it can work incredibly well. If you can have 2 extra Colossi there and your opponent focuses down the wrong ones, it could boost the confidence where it's not really going to help him very much at all.
Definitely. Yeah. Alright, well, we do see the Phoenix coming down, so that Phoenix is for scouting. At the same time, we should probably note that Pandatank is researching thermal loss, is about to finish. Travis on the Shase on the other hand, not doing that. His expansion is up though. He's got 1 gas, second one coming down, while Pandatank's expansion is actually just finishing. And looking at the army size is actually almost exactly the same. Very, very close.
Very clever by Shase. He actually did select the robotics bay. He saw it busy researching while he flew over there, so he knows that thermal lance is probably going to be done now. Interesting. It's going to be good to see if he gets his own thermal lance out. And another thing that I think is quite significant is Shase is probably going to be getting that upgrade quite soon, and that's going to make a big difference to his damage as well. He's +1 ground weapons upgrade.
Indeed, he's got a 4 chart. Oh, this might be pushing into the late game. Travis very, very, very confident in his, I think, just clean style of play, now opening up the goal as well. So I think he's just bargaining on the fact that he's got a much cleaner macro-micro style, and if both players just micro up for about 20 minutes, he will probably come out on top.
Yeah, when it comes to those
one as well.
Yeah, when it comes to those big fights, I do think that Shase might have slightly superior control over those Colossus. We saw in the previous game 1 or 2 Colossus being lost slightly carelessly by Pandatank. Sorry, in the first game.
Indeed.
But still, yes. These are the finals, and if you just joined us, this is Pandatank versus Shase. Pandatank actually fighting thus far a losing battle. This is his last chance. He's gonna have to make it. He's gonna have to really shine now to pull this back.
Definitely, and you can see that Pandatank is not unexperienced or unaware of what's going on. His build is actually following Travis's to the letter, except for that one forge. He's got the same amount of production bullets out. He's also putting down the 4th a fourth giveaway and a second robotics facility, so they both know they're going up for Colossi. Colossi obviously being a major battle in PvP. The guy with the most Colossus wins at the end of the game, which is why both of them are playing down a second facility. You really need those, and you need thermal lance, so you need to control them well. Travis has 2 forges though, and this is where the difference is going to come in. His army is just going to be way more upgraded, much stronger.
I gotta say, not the most entertaining of games, and there's a nice little oh no, that was Pandatanks. I thought Shase was about to get a Colossus head count here, but if you look at the units tab, I mean, these guys are pretty close. Pandatank sitting on 4 Colossus, 5, am I wrong? 5, yeah, and Shase only on 4.
5 and 4.
Yeah.
So very close. We can see the Twilight Council is going down for Travis as well. I'm going to guess that this is going to be Zealot Leg, because he's got quite a few Zealots in his army, and Zealot Leg just allows you to let's say encapsulate your opponent's army much faster. With Zealots running on both sides around, it just crunches your opponent's army into a smaller position with that splash damage from the Colossi, just dealing so much more damage.
Yeah, if you can keep them
it's a brilliant combo.
It definitely works incredibly well. And Shase actually a little bit quicker with his gold expansion. And right now, I mean, Shase actually producing these 2 Colossus at a time. Oh no, both of them are, sorry. So these guys, definitely. Wow, the numbers are going quite high at the moment. Pandatank sitting on 136, Shase sitting on 133. But Shase obviously a little bit ahead with the upgrades.
Indeed, he's got his +1, he's got his +1 ground armor going up, not the shield, mind you, the armor. And now he does have that Zealot leg coming out as well, and he's the gold expansion. Where on the other side, Pandatank is a little bit more safe. I'm actually wondering, Pandatank has about the same amount of units, so I'm wondering where he has put his... Let's look at army size quickly. Okay, so Pandatank's army is actually about 500 minerals and so forth. So his army is a little bit bigger, but I would say that overall, at this point in time, with the mass of units they have, the upgrade is going to be way more important than a few more units.
Yeah, no, most definitely. When you get to the late game, without upgrades, your army will just crumble beneath the Syrian flames of the Colossus. Because, I mean, look at all of those. If you got just that one armor upgrade, it'll just make your units last 1 or 2 attacks longer, and that could mean like the difference between winning and losing. Colossus counts at the moment quite close, 7 for Pandatank, 8 for Shase, but you got to keep in mind that Shase is going to start pulling ahead. He's got that gold expansion up a little bit sooner. Let's see if he saturates it, because that'll really help.
He's actually not pulling any units out. I'm wondering when okay, so he's starting to select some probes from both his bases, mostly from his main though, pulling them out. Very nice little, I think, capsulation of his units, pulling most of the probes from his main, as it is almost mined out. He has 2 more gateways coming up as well, so he's increasing his production. On the other side, we see.
Wow. Well, look, I'm just gonna say this now, that this is not what I expected. I expected these guys to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe try something a little different. But we're having a bit of. I'm not going to call it the turtle fest, because that's not really what's happening. But these guys are being very, very careful. And I mean, we said before that it'll probably play into Shase's hands. But do you think Pandatank actually has a chance in this fight?
I do, definitely. When it comes down to such a critical mass, it is not only the units you have, but how fast you can replace them. You can see Shase pushing out with his Colossus, just taking on that Stalker. I think he's just trying to take this tower quickly. He does see the units. Oh, some beautiful shots by him. He actually takes down a Zealot or 2. Just poking in there with his Colossi. He's got a lot of them.
Yes, Colossus harass. I mean, have you ever? That's just so different.
Indeed. Okay, here he's pushing out. I was about to talk some more, but let's just watch this battle. We can see Shase pushing out on the safe side, on the other side of the gold expansion, not trying to be caught off guard, spreading out his Colossi as well very well. You know, you need to try and keep your army from cop tanking too much, and this is going to be a beautiful shot fight for Shase.
Oh my goodness!
He's pushing his opponent into a corner, and the splash damage is just going to be ridiculous. So
this nice Guardian shields here.
Pulling back.
Pandatank actually pulling back too far now. All his Colossus aren't actually engaging where they should be, and Shase actually using a few units on the gold expansion. That's not a good idea.
Okay, so now both units coming around the edge of it, but unfortunately Shase's army was just in a much better position. He's going to roll over. As we said at the end, Colossi, we can see Archons coming out for Pandatank. He did get some Templars, but not
the
nearly
damage
close
is just
to
insane. And there's the GG. Shase wins.